Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving right into this explainer covering a really powerful framework for human resilience. It's called Unbroken, the Internal Hero's Journey. We're going to map out the raw, unvarnished truth of what it actually takes to stop living on autopilot, find your unique frequency, and start actively forging your own path. Let's get right into it.
The absolute crucial starting point of this whole journey is trust. Think about it. When you're standing at the beginning of a major transition, looking forward is terrifying. It just looks like a chaotic scatterplot of random points. Like this quote says so perfectly, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. You really just have to believe that the painful steps you're taking right now are going to make sense eventually.
And trusting that process is exactly what turns those scattered, confusing experiences into a cohesive path. In the present moment, let's be real, all you have is your gut instinct. You're totally blind to the future. But if you maintain that trust today, you eventually arrive at that future point. And from that vantage point, you look back and suddenly, a perfectly straight line appears. The hardships, the crazy detours, the late nights, they literally become the exact required steps. You just cannot unlock that future clarity without present-day courage. So that brings us to phase 1, finding your great work and breaking free from the noise.
Living with the results of other people's thinking. That right there is the definition of dogma. It's that unquestioned routine handed down to us by society, our peers, our upbringing. And look, dogma is super comfortable because it requires absolutely zero risk. But it's a massive trap. If you let the loud, persistent noise of everyone else's opinions dictate your choices, your own inner voice is going to eventually wither away into total silence.
Because being trapped by dogma essentially means you are living someone else's life. And honestly, that's a fast track to long-term regret. The alternative we see here is living your own life, which really equates to doing great work. Since work consumes so much of your waking hours, you can't just compartmentalize your misery, right? If you hate what you do, it bleeds into every single other aspect of your life. The only real mechanism for true, deep satisfaction is to find what you genuinely love and just pour yourself into it.
If you haven't found that great work yet, keep looking. Don't settle. Seeing that glowing up there on the screen, it sounds so simple, right? But it is incredibly hard to actually execute. Human nature naturally craves comfort, and settling is the ultimate comfort. Settling tells you, hey, this is good enough, even when your soul knows it really isn't. You have to embrace the ups and downs of the search and absolutely refuse to compromise your potential by stopping halfway. Which leads us into section 2, the abyss and the paralysis of fear. You know, anyone can be positive when life is easy and the bills are paid. But when life inevitably strikes a heavy blow, the crowd thins out really fast. Fear isn't just about feeling a little nervous. It's a highly destructive physical and mental force. Just look at these points. It kills dreams and hope. The stress of it can literally put people in the hospital and age them prematurely. But perhaps the most tragic reality is that fear paralyzes you completely. It holds you back from doing what you already know you are capable of, basically making you a spectator in your own life.
The only antidote to that paralysis is courage, and specifically, the courage to stay hungry even after you've been totally defeated. When you get knocked down, you're at your most vulnerable. And man, it is so tempting to just stay down. But the human spirit is profoundly powerful. Tapping into that raw survival instinct, that deep hunger, is exactly what gives you the courage to stand back up, dust yourself off, and start completely over.
Moving on to section 3, principles over fleeting feelings.
Climbing out of that abyss really boils down to a silent, daily war inside your head. Feelings are inherently fleeting. I don't feel like waking up. I don't feel like working out. We've all been there. But if you follow those feelings to their logical conclusion, what's at the end? Nothing. Absolute zero. But behind every principle, behind discipline, commitment, and hard work, there is a promise of a result. If you're failing to reach your goals right now, it's highly likely because you're letting temporary feelings dictate your actions instead of standing firm on your principles. Just let those glowing numbers on the screen sink in for a second. 6 to 12 months. We tend to think that taking one day off or hitting snooze just one time is completely harmless. It's just one day, right? Wrong. The compound effect is staggering. That single day where you gave into your feelings could break your momentum, cause you to miss a huge opportunity, or lose a vital connection. Yielding to your feelings today can literally push your ultimate dream back by 6 to 12 agonizing months. So here is a pretty blunt reality check. Emotions are terrible masters. They're chaotic, they're reactive, and they are incredibly short-sighted. If you don't actively contain them with strict discipline, you don't just remain neutral, you become their tool. Your emotions will use you to build a life of comfort, regret, and mediocrity. You absolutely have to be the one holding the reins.
And that brings us to our final phase, Section 4, taking back control and the climax of responsibility. Acknowledging your fears and recognizing the trap of your feelings is really only half the battle. Now comes the hard work of taking the wheel. Change is inherently difficult, but if you're truly serious about this, you must first accept exactly where you are today. No delusions, no excuses. Next, you have to take full responsibility. You are the only one who is going to take yourself where you want to go. And finally, decide to push yourself. You have to make a conscious, active choice to live with passion and literally manufacture your own energy.
When the abyss stares back at you, your battle cry has to be absolute. You are in control. It's this fierce refusal to be a victim of your circumstances. You acknowledge the pain and the defeat, sure, but you firmly state that you will not let this destroy you. Instead, you use the impact of the fall to bounce back even higher, declaring that you're going to be stronger and better because of the adversity.
There is a massive psychological shift that happens when you finally stop talking and start doing. So many of us get stuck in the talking phase, right? Just perpetually preparing to start. But true perseverance means stopping the chatter and shifting to absolute conviction. I can. No matter how complex the problem seems, there is always an answer to everything if you absolutely refuse to give up and refuse to give in.
It really doesn't matter what happened yesterday. The last chapter of your life hasn't been written yet. Your past failures, your previous lack of discipline, those old fears staring at you from the dark, they do not dictate the ending of your story unless you let them. You have the pen in your hand right now. So, leaving you with this glowing question on the screen, what are you going to do about it? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to make today the start of your unbroken journey.